So I drove down to the Peak District and I'm on the hunt for Luds Church. It's a chasm covered in moss out in the hinterland somewhere, and I'm gonna go find it. It shouldn't be too hard to find. I have a map to the trail, but it's incredibly windy outside and it's gonna rain in a few hours. So I only have a little bit of time to get myself to Luds Church and back to the vehicle. Follow this to the bottom?
Yeah, and then turn left.
Okay.
And it's like plastic walkway. It walks through, you can't miss it. That takes you to it. Or you can go over that next ridge.
Okay.
And then turn right, drop into it that way.
So the hiking community is really friendly. This is my first big hike here in the Peak District. I've done a couple smaller hikes, but I'm heading to Luds Church, as I already mentioned. Just talked to a nice hiker. He gave me some great directions. I already had directions, but he's a local, so he gave me even better directions than what I was going to follow. I'm excited about this because this is something that's new for me. I haven't hiked much like this in the past, done a little bit, but this is hopefully starting a new trend, something we could all go along with. I want you to come with me, so be sure to like and subscribe. But let's get back to walking. I sat down behind these rocks to get out of the wind for a minute. I was expecting the cold, but I wasn't expecting the winds to be quite as high as they are. I'm up on this ridge. Luds Church is down below me. Hopefully, when I get down off this ridge, I can get out of some of this wind. As I was hoping, coming down off that ridge line got me out of the worst of the wind. Unfortunately, now I'm getting hot because this jacket, I would not normally hike in this jacket. It's not my hiking jacket. It's more when you're just kind of resting and sitting in a cold place. But that wind was so high, but down out of the wind, and a little bit of exertion coming down off that ridge line too, warmed me up just a little bit, but it feels good. Just talked to another hiker and he told me that it's really muddy farther on down here. So we'll see. I'm going to make it to Luds Church. Wind's not going to stop me, and neither is the mud. All right, let's see which way to go. Luds Church, this way. So after the briskness of walking on the ridge up there, the roaches, to come down here and now be walking on the boardwalk, it almost feels a little too easy. Just bumped into another hiker. And the thing that keeps coming up over and over again is that Luds Church is mystical. It has a certain aura to it. It's also a site of special consideration, scientific. It's a scientific site because all the lichen and things that's growing in there. So I want to check that out as well, just take a look at it. But yeah, I'm really excited about this. Even before heading down into Luds Church, I can tell you that I'm already impressed. I didn't expect it to be as large or as impressive as it is. I am a huge fanatic when it comes to botanicals, and to see all of the moss and the ferns all growing and hanging all over the place it is beautiful. And I haven't even gotten into it yet, but it is much larger than I thought. So I'm really excited. I made my trek down here this morning. Going down these steps are going to be a little treacherous though. It's a little slick. Coming down into here, there is a breeze that's blowing up from deeper down into this chasm. It is like a lost world, That's what it puts me in mind of. Oh wow, this is so beautiful. Wow. This is just so much more than I anticipated. I don't know why more people don't come here, because this is beautiful. You can see where the rocks separated and slipped. Maybe there was an earthquake, maybe a rock slide, but you can see how everything's separated. There's so many different types of ferns and mosses and lichen growing all on the walls. You could tell that this area has created its own microenvironment. The environment here is different than anywhere else in the world. So I wouldn't be surprised if you find all kind of unique variants, cultivars, specimens in this location. I'm pretty sure it's being studied. That's why it would be an area of scientific significance. But the walls are just covered in all this beautiful moss. I've been to a lot of botanical grottos at different gardens and things of that sort. And now I see what the original, a version of what the original looks like, right? What they were trying to mimic at those botanical gardens. I mean, you only get this type of growth in conditions that are consistently wet. If this dries out, this stuff is dead in a week. But this lichen and moss just growing, and it's layered all the way up. It has to be so much moisture in here all the time, and it has this wind that flows through. This is truly a microclimate, a microenvironment. You won't find anything else anywhere else in the world exactly like this. Other grottos, sure. Other chasms, sure. But just like this, you're not gonna find it. I would imagine that throughout the year, even in the summer, you're gonna have a certain amount of moisture that's gonna seep out of the bedrock, out of this stone, to add to the moisture in this overall environment. That's why you have so many ferns growing here. It rains a lot in this area, sure, but even when it's not raining, moisture is still gonna come out of these rocks for a while and give you a bit more moisture to keep all this lichen and ferns and algae and all these wonderful things that's blended in and growing here together to keep it all alive. It's just such a unique environment. It was definitely worth to hike to make it here to Luds Church. When you consider the historical perspective with it as well, all the history that's wrapped up in this location, the myth, the mythology, the legends, I can now say I've been there as well. Luds Church is everything that I thought it was and so much more. I'm thinking back to what it had to be like historically, when only the locals would have known about this. I could see people hiding out in there, being afraid to go in there. I wouldn't want to necessarily go walking through there at night with nothing but, say, a torch. But imagine if you didn't even have that and you stumbled across it and the wind is blowing and it feels different and it's eerie. Historically, I can imagine it, and even today, I can still imagine how unique a space that is. Instead of continuing a looping path, I'm gonna hike back the way I came because I know exactly where my vehicle is, and I don't wanna go too deep down the trail and end up in another location and have to figure out how to hike my way back. I know where the vehicle is, I'm hiking back. It's gonna start raining here in probably about an hour, hour and a half, so I only have that amount of time to make it back to my vehicle. Conversation with another set of hikers. Wow, the hiking community is really friendly and I like it. I like it a lot. It gave me a couple other great locations to go try to find some hikes. If I have time between today and tomorrow, I may try to get there. I only have a little bit more time left in the Peak District and in Manchester. I'm hiking back to the car and it's all uphill from here. I'm almost back to the top of the ridge line, but it's a bit challenging just climbing straight up for a little bit. And I know mountains and hills get taller than these, but still pretty challenging for me. I'm kind of new to this still. I haven't been doing it for a very long time. Just really started this year, actually. It's only February, so I need a little more time to get my conditioning up. Again, this larger jacket is not helping. I didn't want to wear it, but when I first got out of the car this morning, around 7 this morning, it was really chilly, especially with that wind just ripping through my lighter jacket. Maybe I should have just stuck with the lighter jacket because I'm cold and I'm slightly sweaty. Most of that is because of this oversized jacket that I have on. But I only figure about another mile, maybe 2 to go along the ridge line. About another mile to go. The rain is starting. It feels like sleet, which is frozen rain.